Here we go again. MidwestHockey.info. This is, you're probably not seeing all of them at the same time, but this is round 3 for us on our NHL prediction, previews, whatever you want to call it. And this one, we're doing one near and dear to Trent's heart, the Detroit Red Wings. The one before that was the Columbus Blue Jackets that we did. And that's one that they're kind of my pet team because I really like the way they've done things in the last couple of years. You know, if we had a picture about these previews, we should I'll get a Columbus hat and you wear your Detroit hat. And we can be like one of the boxer poses, put our faces right together.
No, like
maybe do one of these.
The Sunday Night Football or the Monday.
Just smash heads, yeah. Okay, so here we go with the Detroit Red Wings, and I'm going to hand the reins to Trent because this is his guys.
All right, so we're going to start off at forwards, and we're saying this is regular season game number 1. That's important because we're going to be missing 2 guys on this team that are very important. Number 1, Pavel Datsyuk. So he is not on here because he is going to be hurt. He's going to miss. Also, Darren Helm. Most likely going to be missing some time at the beginning of the season.
Right.
Shocker there.
Boy, that's such a surprise. It must be the regular season.
Regular season hockey is right around the corner because Darren Helm is hurt.
And Datsyuk. So, and we also, I did notice that we also, we both were a little bit shy about putting Franzen on here, but he's got a shot.
Yep, that is true also. So we're going to take off, go ahead, line number 1, Abdelkader on the wing with Nyquist on the wing, and we're moving Zetterberg into the center. Take over, he played center a couple years ago until he started playing regularly with Datsyuk, so he's going to move back to center. He's going to center that line with Abdelkader and Nyquist. Second line, wings are going to be Tatar, and yes, I'm saying it, Sheehan. He's been getting a lot of reps. They really like him at wing. I think it's a change they could make, especially at the beginning of the year, so that we could take another look at Larkin on the third line. But centering the second line is going to be new addition Mike Richards.
Yeah.
Which now this becomes huge because no Datsyuk at the beginning of the year. That's going to help majorly. When Datsyuk comes back, I think you're going to put him on that first line center, move Zetterberg to wing, move Nyquist down over Sheehan. So then that's going to be Tatar, Richards, Nyquist.
The Hawks used Richards on the third line, I think, but
second and third.
He's certainly capable of putting some points on the board.
And he's a good, savvy, playmaking veteran.
Yeah.
And being on a line with Tatar and eventually, my prediction, Nyquist, that could be dangerous.
That's a potent line, yeah.
So then, going to the third line, this is where things get a little gray because, there is Cleary, which, in my opinion, shouldn't be he'll be playing for Grand Rapids. But you got Yurko, who I think this is kind of his last chance to prove himself to the Wings. You got young up-and-comer Larkin, who could be amazing. And then Timu Pulkkinen. He's an interesting guy because he got a chance last year. He didn't perform in the NHL. But, man, that guy can score goals at the AHL. So I think you get him on a line like this, I think he could produce. So I'm going to go ahead and put him on that line.
Okay.
And then on our fourth line, we got Drew Miller, Glendening, centering that line with Ferraro. And I put Ferraro and Miller and Glendening over Anderson. That is debatable. I mean, you could take Pulkkinen off that list, put Anderson there, maybe move Glendening up. Could be some moves there.
Yeah, I mostly agreed with everything you had there. My only disagreement was I did put Anderson ahead of Ferraro. Pulkkinen, I agree with you on that. And the tough thing is, the only benefit they have, and it's not really a benefit. I mean, obviously you'd rather have Datsuk and Helm in your lineup, but it just gives a new coach a little bit of extra time to make some really tough decisions.
Yeah, and I think it'll really help. Another player I think that you could see on this third line is big Anthony Mantha. And, just try to get a look at him in the NHL in a regular season game. So I feel like it gives them some freedom to try out a couple of these guys and see if they fit, see if any of them stick. So I think it could be beneficial down the road, but it obviously hurts. And then I think when Helm comes back, he's actually probably, I think, going to get bumped down. He's going to be playing that third line.
Do you think the Larkin will stick when the decisions have to be made down the road?
I think when Datsuk and Zetterberg comes back, he'll probably go get some experience in Grand Rapids. That's just Detroit's MO.
Couple of names I'll throw at you. I had him down here just as my kind of bubble players.
And not to mention Franzen. You could
Franzen,
put Franzen in this mix, all of a sudden.
He'll probably be there, but right now we just don't have enough faith to put him there.
Yeah.
Because
it sounds like he's finally making that commitment where he's saying he's going to come back and play.
Yeah.
But until you see it, I ain't believing it.
I'm kind of a fan of Thomas Nosek.
Yeah.
He's another guy that seems to have the ability to put the puck in the net. And I put Mark Zengerly down here too, but I think Nosek is one of my guys. But he's behind so many guys right now, it's going to be tough for him, I think.
And I think another guy that would fit in great on this fourth line would be Tyler Bertuzzi.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Good grinder. I feel like he would play great with Glendening and Ferraro. There's something to consider, but if Miller's healthy, he's playing.
Boy, isn't that crazy?
He deserves it, yeah.
I mean, the decisions are hard to make now. It's going to be 10 times harder once those other guys come back.
Yeah, and especially
of course, by then, maybe somebody else.
If Franzen comes back.
Yeah, right.
Well, then we go to defense where conflict is just as thick once we get to the bottom. Starting off with Cronwall and Eriksson, I don't see them taking those two apart. Then you got newcomer Mike Green and Danny DeKeyser. They've been practicing a lot together, so I imagine that's going to be their second. You get that good offense from Green, and last year, Danny DeKeyser was called the human eraser. So he really helped being on a line with Kyle Quincy, really helped him out, making some of those bad mistakes in your own end. And then on the third line, Kyle Quincy, I would say he deserves to be on that third line. And then that sixth guy is a big question mark. I got Smith up here now. They played together, and it either worked out really good or it was disastrous when those two were on the ice together. Another guy to consider would be Kindle, Marchenko, Ouellette.
Yeah.
So it's tough. There's lots of decisions to be made there right at the bottom of that defense.
Yeah, I have exactly the same as you. The only difference was just because I love the sounds of it, I put Cromwell and Green together. I'm sure the obvious decision is to go and make them a little bit deeper, but Green and Cromwell is just a dream pair.
Yeah, that would be a pretty dynamite defensive line.
Certainly they'll see time together on the power play out when it's back.
Yeah, I think you could see that unless they decide. I would really like to see them with that right-handed defenseman playing with Cronwall on the power play.
Yeah.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of possibilities there. Now we should say they'll probably carry 8, I would think. They'll have maybe a guy or two in the press box, maybe dress 7 and 8, or maybe 8. I don't know, but I don't think they're gonna. I think they'll probably carry 8 guys. So out of those 4 guys that we have, I have Smith on the bubble. With Kindle, Marchenko, and Ouellette like right there with them. So I have 5 guys, and then those 4 guys on the bubble. Yeah. Probably one of them is going to have to go back to the Grand Rapids. So.
Yeah. And then, interesting, comes to goalies. I put Mrazek over Howard.
Yeah.
because going down the stretch, Howard lost his confidence, lost his spot. Mrazek came in, had a couple shaky performances, overall pulled it off. I think he could be the starter, especially since we saw Howard get pulled yet again in the preseason opener. So I'm going to put Mrazek over Howard. And with the depth at the bottom of, you got Howard, could be trade bait. He could be a starter easily somewhere else where someone else needs a starter and he can come in and be the guy. I think coming in and have someone else take over his spot is shaking his confidence, giving him the yips, so to say. So I think he could be trade bait. Same thing with maybe Quincy, Smith, Kendall. One of these guys could be trade bait.
I have to say, at the goaltending position, that's a one place where I really firmly disagree with you, and that doesn't happen very often. But I think you got to go with the money guy.
Yeah.
And I would think if anybody's going to be traded, which I don't think they are, but I would think if anybody was going to go on the block, would be the young guy. But I don't know. I know you know a lot more about this team than I do. But Howard's been there. He's won some big games for him. I think he won a cup for him. I got to see a lot more of Mrazek before I'm making a decision like that.
No doubt. You got to see a lot more from Mrazek. But when you look at it like this also, Howard starting to get up there a little bit in age.
Yeah.
Are you ready for your future goaltender in Mrazek? Why trade that away when he could be there for another 6, 7, 8 years?
Yeah.
When Howard's most likely there, maximum of 3 more.
I suppose I'm just trying to see if I can find his age here. I don't know how old Howard is. I never really thought of him as being old. He's an 84, so yeah, I guess he's in his late 20s, right? No, maybe even in his 30s.
Yeah, he's in his 30s. I know that.
But I gotta go with
34, I think, depending on the month.
Yeah.
That would put him 31, 32.
So I guess this is something we'll have to talk about as the season goes on. I'm gonna put my money on Howard.
I'm gonna put my money on Mrazek.
So
hey, we were talking about doing some bets on the show, Jim.
Yeah.
So regular season, game 1, I'm putting a bet on Mrazek.
You willing to bet on Howard? Game?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I got Howard.
All right.
Howard's going to be in that game. We'll have to find out some stakes. Maybe we can
we'll keep you guys posted on that.
Yeah. I cannot give up on Howard.
And I don't want to give up on him. I'm not like some of the other fans that are like, all right, I want him packing his bags. I would love to see Howard stay. I would love to see both of them, 50-50. But
yeah, Goalie seemed to take the heat a lot in Chicago last year.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people crying about Crawford until he won yet another Stanley Cup
with Crawford again.
Yeah. So, goalies do seem to take the knocks a little bit harder for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but
it's kind of like quarterbacks in the NFL.
I need to see Mrazek has been in for different stretches. I don't know that he's ever had like a 20-game or so stretch. Well, actually, he probably has because Howard's been hurt a bit.
Yeah, Howard got hurt there a bit. But I don't think he had quite 20.
Yeah.
But then into the playoffs. So I think you got us. I think they stick with Mrazek.
All right, well, we'll talk about this more now. We'll agree to disagree for now. And I don't know if you have anything to add.
That's all I got for right now.
That is our 2015-16 Detroit Red Wings, at least for day 1.
And I'm going to go ahead and say this is a very important number. Actually, a couple important numbers. And I'm writing left-handed.
25. And 26. 25
You know
straight
what
playoffs?
it means. You know what it means. 25, 26, 27, baby.
All right, so that's our Detroit Red Wings. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with another team shortly.
Stay classy, Midwest.